Okay, good morning everybody. Alright, so in this video today I want to give you a quick, just have a quick discussion really about how injuries often stand in the way of lots of people attaining their goals, and personally I'm no stranger to injuries at all. So just a real quick little background about where I'm coming from here. I've had so many injuries in my time on this planet. I started off playing football, I then moved into powerlifting, and then I moved into bodybuilding. And with each of those different avenues, I encountered different injuries, but I was able to continue to move towards my goals by working around them or finding alternative routes towards my goal. Okay, listen guys, so when I was playing football, the main injury I did was I tore my right cruciate ligament, so my ACL, and also my meniscus. From there, that's how I got into powerlifting and into the gym in the first place. So I went onto a rehabilitative routine, and I was at university, and a powerlifting coach kind of noticed me and said, actually mate, you're quite strong. Do you fancy coming to a club session with the powerlifters? Anyway, so one thing led to the next, and I got into my powerlifting, like really got into it, and I competed to a decent level. I did actually end up doing all right. So I broke a couple of junior records, British drug-free records, and also world records and European records in other federations. So that was awesome. That was good fun. And it was my passion. I absolutely adored powerlifting. It was everything to me. It was my world, okay? Anyway, so my lower back health got worse and worse and worse. And eventually it got so bad that I encountered this injury whilst deadlifting, where I had this sharp crunching pain that shot through my spine. And I went to hospital, and lo and behold, the x-rays demonstrated that I had fractured L3, I believe it was. One of my lumbars, okay? One of my lumbar vertebrae had actually fractured. And this is an unheard of thing. Like, this doesn't happen, okay? I'm a bit of a technical, excuse the terminology, but no, I'm not going to say that word. I'm obsessed with technique, okay? So I was never that strong. Like, my lifts were good, but not because of virtue of being very strong, but just being technically pretty sound. So my technique was okay, and nonetheless I encountered this injury, and the question was, how the hell does one fracture their lumbar when they're training deadlift? Like, it seems almost impossible to do that. Anyway, so we went for further scans, soft tissue scans and such like, and it transpired, and here's the kicker, that I had this genetic predisposition where I had these bony nodes attached to my vertebrae. And what that has done is it has accelerated the rate of my disc degeneration. So I had the disc degeneration in my lumbar, most of my T-spine, and some of my neck, my cervical spine, equivalent to like of a 95-year-old man. Like, some of my vertebrae are literally almost stuck together because there's no disc in between. So it's pretty shocking. And so what happens is when you're deadlifting, and if you go into just a marginal amount of flexion, the top vertebrae actually squashes and it breaks, and it can fracture the vertebrae beneath it. And that comes with a huge amount of pain and discomfort. And it makes a host of movements challenging for me. Like, I have had to amend how I do so many different lifts, and I've had to accommodate so many different lifts by adjusting my setup as a result of this awful genetic predispositions, having basically no spine. Like, my spine is fucked, for lack of a better word. But I'm able to get around it anyway. So that's how I got into bodybuilding. So powerlifting, like, is off the cards because, you know, for me to lift the weight that I was used to lifting, it's just not going to happen again, or at least not safely, and at least not to a level of reward that's worth me risking my health. And that's how I got into bodybuilding. I realised that I could still build a physique, and actually since then I've gained about 20 kilos of muscle tissue. I could still build a physique by changing my methodologies, avoiding certain things, and adjusting how I did certain things to build muscle. And I'm talking here about adjusting my cueing, I'm talking about adjusting my physical setup on certain moves, adjusting the amount of volume. A host of different programming and execution adjustments have taken place such that I can accommodate my injury, okay? And it's mostly my lower back which holds me back, okay? But it hasn't held me back from building more tissue. So listen guys, my point is here, I've encountered numerous injuries. I've recently completely ruptured my Achilles tendon, which got surgically reattached 16 weeks ago. I sustained my training throughout that process because for me, it's so crucial to continue training. Like, it serves such a function towards my physical and mental health to keep training. And so I found ways to work around being in a cast, being in a Vacoped mobility boot, having impaired lower back functioning as a result of being on crutches for so long, a host of different things that I've worked around, and I've been able to continue to work around it. So if you're like me, you're probably very driven by your goal, okay? And the last thing you want is to be stopped in your tracks as a result of having an injury, okay? If that describes you and you're unsure how to go about your training in light of an injury, let me just say that through my experience of dealing with my own injuries and that of many of my clients, I've developed this understanding, an inherent understanding of how to work around various constraints. Whether it's ankle issues, knee issues, back issues, pectoral issues, shoulder girdle issues, etc., etc., etc. There is always a way around your injuries and your constraints. And what I want to do is invite you guys, if you have currently an injury which is holding you back from your training, from attaining your goals, I invite you to send me a direct message right now, okay? Upon hearing this message that I'm sending to you now, send me a direct message and maybe I can help you work through it. Maybe I can help you work around it. Maybe I can help you understand that, you know, this doesn't need to be the be all and end all of your training goals, okay? You can work around it if you're motivated to, with some execution adjustments, with some setup adjustments, with some programming adjustments, with some nutritional adjustments. There's always a way around an injury, okay? So again, I invite you, send me a DM, tell me what your constraint is, and we can have a conversation. I'm happy to offer some of my time to get on a phone call even and just give you my advices and talk through your experience and understand what's holding you back. And from there, you know, who knows, maybe I build you a plan or maybe I mentor you for a few weeks or whatever, but I can initially get you started with some good advice on improving your training in spite of an injury. So send me a direct message, guys. Tell me what your current injury or constraint is and we'll get on a phone call. We can book in a phone call using my Calendly system. And I've got lots of availability for next week as it stands currently, but spaces are filling up very, very quickly, okay? I've only probably got another 5 to 10 spaces left for next week. So get those booked in, we can have a conversation and we can keep you moving towards your goal. No obligation whatsoever to part with any money. I'm just looking for people that are serious about their goals and to network with those people. And like I said, if you were wanting more close mentoring or programming, we can have that discussion too, but that's down to you guys, okay? So send me a DM and I look forward to hearing about, I don't look forward to hearing about your injuries, but if you've got an injury and I can help, I'm looking forward to helping you. All right, guys, have a great day and I'll speak to you soon. Cheers.